I can't tell you how important waiting one day after another, one day at a time is to life. There was times in my life where I used to sit reading Reddit posts down in the posts of treatment-resistant OCD, and I'd follow like 5-6 accounts where a guy would be like, yeah, I've basically been stuck on this exact thing for 20 years, whole life ruined, don't work, just sit in a dark room, just basically thinking of how to end my life. And those accounts, when I used to read them, every single thing the guy was saying related exactly to my case. Where 100% that was me in my mind, right? Like, I was like, that's it. And I was like, that's it, just doomed. Like, that's it, doomed. But what I wasn't seeing was, although that guy was reporting it exactly like my situation, he had all the wrong thinking and everything, right? But I couldn't see that, yeah? I could just see his thing is exactly me. He's the exception, I'm the exception. Everything he's saying, he went to loads of therapists, he's still stuck, the guilt never goes, he has this symptom, and I was like, that's me, I'm doomed, like, might as well just put me in a coffin now, right? And that is so dangerous. Like, how many people do I think out there in the world with OCD have literally ended their lives because they read things like this, they become so convinced they see no hope, gone, yeah? It's like when people are battling insomnia, right? They become so convinced, oh my God, like when you have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sleep, oh my God, I'm broken, there's nothing any worse than this. I understand that, I was in that position. I thought it was literally the worst thing ever, right? But with time, then they start getting the 5 hour night, the 4.5 hour night, the 6 hour night, right? And then the 8, then the 12, because it's like catches up with all the sleep it was missing and all kinds of things like that. And that is just a time thing, right? That is just a time thing. And you won't see that. If you zoom in on everything, like, and what you do with OCD, oh my God, I can't sleep 1 hour, go onto Reddit. Oh my God, there's a guy here who said he hasn't slept 1 hour for 20 years, fuck. That's what happens, right? You have literally got to zoom out for these things. Now, we work with people mainly with OCD, but not just mainly OCD. Mainly OCD is the main thing, but anxiety, depression, PTSD, all of that. I see the people that come in with long COVID, fatigue, CFS, ME, all of these conditions. I see people go, from no exaggeration, they're in the groups and they talk about it, bed bound for years, not getting out of bed, in bed constantly. I'm talking someone comes and feeds them in the bed, right? Bed bound, wheelchairs, all of that to living life again normally. I see all of that, yeah? You guys don't see all of that because it's not all on the page, because I can't exactly say to somebody, oh, by the way, I know you were in a wheelchair and you were in bed for 3 years. Do you mind getting all the pictures of that and so that we can post it? They don't want to revisit that in their life. They don't want to revisit that, right? So you got to think, like, how many times do you think I've had calls with people who think they were the treatment-resistant one, the worst case in Reddit ever? I've spoken to tons of those guys. I speak to the horror stories that you can't even imagine. The horror stories that you think, like, my mind doesn't get blown by people that come in on the calls. Like, I think, oh, okay, I've seen that before most of the time, right? But sometimes I get one and I think, oh, fuck. Like, it hits me, like I feel it. Like, maybe it's a 12-year-old kid that's just bleached all his skin to get rid of contamination OCD, so he's just spent a week in hospital and just about survived. Maybe it's a person who hasn't spoken for 6 years for fear of being blasphemous. I see all this stuff all the time in various forms. Not all severe, but I see all occurrences of everything. The person who contamination OCD has taken over their whole world and they haven't left the house at all and stay in one room. The person who has harm OCD so bad they hand themselves into the police every other day. Everything, right? We see this. This is what we do. This is our work. This is our life. This is the world that we're in. We're seeing this all the time, right? So for us, we are very, very, very aware of the reality of where this disorder takes people. When you're going through it on your own, It's so easy because you only got insight of one person, right? It's like if I could hold a conference right now for all the people on Reddit with insomnia and OCD and shove them all into a giant conference hall, and then I got on stage and asked questions, what would happen is all the people that were so negative on there, they'd have to say what they're saying, and then we'd have to combat it, and then we'd have to have a laugh and do things and go back and forth, it would change. But Reddit's such a negative place. It's just a place where it's usually just very bad advice, negatively repeated. And when I was stuck, I'd spend all the time in there. All the time in there. That was a place where I thought, oh, this is where I get great information. It's where I get just factual information. No. It's where you're getting something that looked like fact to you, but is completely warped through the eye of the person, right? You have got to be aware of these things and think very long term, right? And think, where are you going to be? How are you going to get there? Motivated, and please, please, please let time take you there. I can't say that enough. If somebody comes in with long COVID and they're really bad and they're working on recovery with their doctor and so on, and they're like, look, I want more help with changing my mindset to it, I've got to say to them, you've got to let this take months, a couple of years. You've got to let that happen, right? The amount the body adapts and changes with those conditions, but we get zoomed in and we go, oh yeah, but I haven't noticed any difference in the last week. Even if you notice 0.1% difference in a week, yeah, in 0.01 in a week, that then becomes 0.1 in 10 weeks, right? In 100 weeks. And so all these things change, right? But you must give it time. The insomnia case is so easy to become frantic when the person's thrown into it suddenly by the body. Think about it, right? You've got a guy, he's suddenly just developed insomnia, right? He's taking sleep medication instantly because he's now very scared. How quickly does his situation take hold of his whole life? Very quickly, because he's demanding the insomnia must go. Now, if I could show him on a bit of paper, on June the 11th, insomnia goes, he wouldn't need the meds now, he'd let the whole process take what it takes. It's because he's so scared it won't, he's trying to fight and do everything to get back, right? This is what happens. And your brain is going to look for every reason why you're different. Oh yes, you've got this other condition. Oh yes, you've got this other factor. Doesn't matter. I see people with the worst situations you could imagine recover, right? Recover where they come in, they've got bipolar, they've got OCD, they've been abused as a kid, they've fallen out with all their family, they've got no job, they've also having treatment for another disease, recover. And all the other things start to improve in some degree. I see all of those things. I can't highlight this enough. I really can't. When something goes wrong in the brain, you panic because you haven't got. So if something goes wrong with your phone, you think, fuck it, I'll just get another phone. If something goes wrong with your phone, fuck it, I'll charge it, turn it off. Because you can't do that with the brain. Obviously, you've got the brain stem going into the brain, and how you've got the brain is connected through your body, right? You can't exactly just go, oh, all right, I'll just crack the brain off, put a new brain on. You can't do that yet. Maybe in the next few years with AI, who knows? But because there's not a recharging facility, what happens is you freak the fuck out. Oh my fucking God, I'm feeling like this and this is never going to go. That means I'm fucking doomed. And you watch for symptoms so fast. I did it so fast. When I used to have insomnia, oh my God, I woke up after an hour with the palpitations. If that never goes, that means I'm going to have palpitations forever and I'm going to wake up every hour forever. Oh my God, I'm stuck. Let's do. No one else has that. Boom. Whereas I wanted to take the view of, let's see where I am in a few months. Probably don't get palpitations every single time. I'll be more comfortable with the OCD. But then what I would do is, as I got more comfortable with the OCD and the insomnia, I was watching for the palpitations and I was getting more, and I was feeling more lost and more stuck and more lost and more stuck. So, if you want to replenish energy in the body, you want to feel alive, you want to feel better, you have got to eat, work out, and sleep, but you can function fucking good even on low sleep. Let me say that again. You can function fucking good even on low sleep. I'm trying to take out the hit of when people get really scared, they can't sleep, or they haven't got the energy. At my worst with insomnia, I was sleeping 2-3 hours a day, yeah? On a lot of those days, I still went out for dinner, had great conversations and loads of things. It was the fear of the feelings, okay? If you said to me right now, Rob, I'm going to give you 3 hours of sleep, 3 to 4 days a week for the next 3 years, I'd be like, this is going to be uncomfortable, but I've got some days which is going to be all right. I'll adapt to that. I wouldn't be that bothered. But then I was absolutely terrified. You have got to take a step back, let time do its thing. Whatever your symptom, no matter how long stuck, no matter what other disorder, you have got to take a step back, right? And just let the process go through it, right? Think of what people recover from. They recover from cancer. They recover from both legs broken. They recover from a bullet shot to the head. You'd see people that recover from that, right? So if the body can recover from all these mad situations, there's a pretty good chance it's going to start recovering with the things where your situation is once it gets into a groove. It's always the same. It's like when I see people with really bad CFS, they're like bedbound, and they start improving bit by bit by bit. Once they see they can hike a bit, once they see they can carry groceries for longer, it sort of like takes on extra energy, and then they sort of snowball ahead, right? And that's what these things are like. Opening up those avenues in the body, in the brain, in the nervous system, where that sort of energy and feeling better starts to flow, and then it takes over more and more, and we start just transforming. That is where you're going with it.